across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy emotional musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholy, undeniably tragic minor chord. The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension, accessing an entirely different, incredibly sorrowful dimension. My left hand trembles to produce the necessary thick vibrato, delivering this highly expressive musical manifesto. I push the metallic string aggressively across the steel fret, the most highly emotional physical performance I have given yet. The note bends upwards, stretching the pitch into a terrible cry, a magnificent acoustic representation of a tearful, sad goodbye. The truss rod groans slightly under the immense pulling weight, a physical reaction to this highly depressive musical state. The magnetic pickups capture every single microscopic vibration, translating the physical effort into an auditory revelation. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustained pedal stretches the note into infinity, a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends a string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. I apply the heavy brass bottleneck to my little finger, allowing the incredibly sorrowful sliding notes to heavily linger. The glass glides smoothly over the parallel metal bars, broadcasting my incredible sadness directly up to the stars. The harmonic overtones scream with a highly piercing wail, a beautiful instrumental, undeniably tragic fairy tale. I pluck the D string with an incredibly heavy, aggressive pick, executing a phenomenally complex, emotionally devastating trick. The calluses on my digits are heavily bruised and deeply worn, the physical consequence of playing music so incredibly forlorn. The amplifier tubes burn with a remarkably hot orange heat, while I manipulate the melody right above the reggae beat. The intonation is purposely adjusted to sound slightly sharp, creating a highly dissonant, deeply painful metallic harp. We force the instrument to vocalize our unspoken pain, a highly emotional, undeniably heavy musical rain. The amplifier translates the incredibly heavy grief, offering absolutely zero auditory joyful relief. The sustained pedal stretches the note into infinity, a remarkably tragic, highly emotional sonic trinity. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends a string musical dreams, a remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. Do not release the tension until the note completely dies. A magnificent translation of our heavy internal sighs. Let the rosewood fingerboard absorb the awful ache. A remarkably beautiful musical sacrifice we make. Push high, hold steady, hear it cry, release down, saddest sound. Listening to these beautifully weeping frets, broadcasting our deepest untold regrets. The guitarist bends the string until it heavily screams, tearing apart the fabric of our musical dreams. A remarkable display of highly expressive string sorrow, leaving absolutely no hope for a joyful tomorrow. The fingerboard absorbs the incredibly salty musical tears, a phenomenal technique perfected over many years. Unplug the cord, silence the board. Neck is warm, music is born. Sliding my calloused fingertips across the rosewood neck, keeping the heavy, emotional, musical tempo perfectly in check. I press the nickel wire deeply into the wooden fingerboard, creating a highly melancholy, undeniably tragic minor chord. The heavy gauge strings provide a remarkable amount of tension. Hoisting the massive canvas, mainsail up the wooden mast, preparing the enormous vessel for a journey incredibly vast. The pelagic winds fill the fabric with a highly powerful gust, leaving the safe harbor in a cloud of maritime salty dust. I stand confidently upon the starboard side of the deck, searching the endless blue horizon for a sunken pirate wreck. The albatross glides beautifully alongside our wooden hull, a highly spectacular nautical voyage that is never dull. Gripping the giant steering wheel with my calloused hands, navigating the coordinates toward undiscovered foreign lands. The compass points directly toward a highly treacherous reef, but the crew maintains a remarkably steadfast, brave belief. I adjust the rigging and carefully secure the thick rope, sailing forward with an enormous amount of adventurous hope. The maritime charts predict a highly favorable strong gale, providing the perfect momentum for this legendary tale. Riding the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vast festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation.
The barnacles cling stubbornly to the submerged underbelly, while the chef prepares a highly traditional maritime jelly. I drop the massive iron anchor into the turquoise deep, allowing the exhausted, hard-working sailors to finally sleep. The dolphins breach spectacularly across the starboard bow, a majestic aquatic performance happening right here and now. We swap the wooden deck until the timber perfectly gleams, fulfilling our wildest, most adventurous seafaring dream.
Climbing the rope ladder entirely up to the tall crow's nest, putting my acrobatic maritime abilities to the ultimate test. I peer through the brass telescope to scout the distant shore, discovering a magnificent island entirely unexplored before. The salty spray constantly splashes against my smiling face, navigating the galleon into this beautifully secluded space. We secure the heavy moorings to the wooden harbor dock, arriving perfectly on time according to the captain's clock. Right in the crest of a gigantic rolling swell, ringing the polished brass navigational bell. The buoyancy keeps the heavy galleon afloat, singing a lively shanty upon this mighty boat. Dancing the highly energetic ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncing nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Ocean skank, walking barefoot upon the wooden plank, a bouncy nautical rhythm on the open sea, the absolute pinnacle of maritime liberty. Swinging joyfully with the pelagic motion, celebrating the vastness of the mighty ocean, a remarkably festive aquatic celebration, the greatest voyage in the entire nation. Drop anchor, empty tanker, journey ends with my friends. The parched landscape is deeply cracked and severely broken. Not a single drop of moisture has been miraculously spoken. I walk across the massive, shifting golden sand dunes, singing these incredibly thirsty, nomadic, arid tunes. The solar radiation bakes the terracotta soil to a crisp, while the dry wind blows past with a terrifying lisp. My canteen has been completely empty for 3 entire days, wandering endlessly through this magnificent desert haze.
The vultures circle patiently above the barren canyon ridge. A massive geographical gap without a single wooden bridge.
I strike the stretched animal skin of my tribal hand drum, waiting for the elusive, mythical rain clouds to finally come.
The drought has lasted for an unprecedented, terrible decade, leaving the entirely dehydrated ecosystem completely betrayed.
I seek the elusive shade of a solitary prickly cactus plant, chanting a desperate, highly repetitive survivalist chant, thus swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute devastating like the rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prison, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. Deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt.
The riverbed is completely devoid of any flowing streams, just the skeletal remains of our former aquatic dreams. I shake the hollow gourd filled with dried, rattling seeds, ignoring my severe, highly critical biological needs. The scorpions scurry beneath the baking, jagged rocks, while the relentless equator sun continuously mocks our pathetic, desperate attempts to invoke the heavy storm, surviving the absolute harshest terrestrial norm.
The mirage shimmers deceptively on the vast horizon line, an optical trick of an incredibly cruel, malicious design. I tap my wooden walking stick against the petrified wood, understanding the severe consequences as I probably should. The percussion echoes weakly across the desolate flatlands, played entirely by my blistered, heavy, calloused hands. We march toward the distant, hazy, purple mountain peaks, a highly dangerous journey that takes several brutal weeks. Dust swirling into a massive, blinding cloud. The silence of the wasteland is incredibly loud. No oasis exists in this desolate, empty terrain, just an absolute, devastating like a rain, pounding out this sun-baked rhythm, trapped inside a completely arid prison, beating the clay until my palms are sore, begging the sky to give us a little more. A deeply dehydrated, incredibly dry groove, forcing my exhausted, weary legs to move, navigating the extreme, punishing drought, the most brutal environment without a doubt. Accept these terribly harsh fates, strike the earth until it finally splits wide. Nowhere for the weary travelers to hide. Slap clay, dry day, no rain, much pain, walk far, follow star. inside the subterranean, heavily vaulted brick cellar, resting silently beside the remarkably ancient wooden propeller. The distilled corn ash matures inside the heavy oak cask, a highly patient, biologically transformative, lengthy task. The fermentation process slowly alters the chemical composition, a highly respected, deeply historical distilling tradition. The temperature fluctuates slightly with the change in season, extracting the robust flavors for a highly specific reason.
The master distiller inspects the heavily charred wooden stage, where the sleeping liquid remarkably quietly behaves. The interior burning creates a highly caramelized sugary crust, a manufacturing technique that the distillery workers trust. The alcohol slowly breathes through the porous timber grain, a deeply complex, magnificent agricultural domain. We wait patiently for 12 entire uninterrupted years, while the magnificent amber-colored liquor finally appears. The angels take the atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there. A botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive, flavorful mark. Pour in a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicating consumer a terrible mumbler. A deeply smoky and incredibly rich vanilla-scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional charred barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. I pulled a heavy cup directly from the bottleneck opening, listening to the magnificent syrupy liquid quietly singing. The viscosity is incredibly thick, resembling molasses, as I distribute the vintage liquid into the waiting glasses. The aroma is incredibly potent, featuring the hint of peat, a remarkably satisfying, highly sophisticated adult treat. The initial sip provides a significantly warm, soothing burn, a magnificent reward that we absolutely had to earn. The robust flavor profile aggressively coats my entire palate, striking my sensory perception like a heavy wooden mallet. I detect the subtle notes of toasted toffee and dark leather, a beverage designed explicitly for the coldest winter weather. The distillation apparatus performed its mechanical duty well, creating a highly magnificent, intoxicating amber spell. We swirl the heavy liquid gently against the crystal rim, while the illumination in the tasting room grows heavily dim. The angels take their atmospheric, evaporated share, leaving a highly concentrated, robust essence there. A botanical maturation happening completely in the dark, leaving an incredibly distinctive, flavorful mark. Pour in a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. Oh, deeply smoky, incredibly rich, vanilla-scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside
Follow the heavy vintage and feel the magnificent heat. A beautifully crafted, traditionally distilled rural feed. Pour cork, tip the spout, rich liquid flowing out, swirl slow, feel the glow. Pour in a heavy glass of this aged bourbon, a deeply intoxicating, magnificent rural sermon. The dark amber liquid heavily coats the crystal tumbler, making the intoxicated consumer a terrible mumbler. A deeply smoky, incredibly rich, vanilla-scented profile, making the lengthy waiting period incredibly worthwhile. Fermented gracefully inside the traditional char barrel, singing a beautifully potent agricultural carol. Deep inside the subterranean, heavily vaulted brick cellar, resting silently beside the remarkably ancient wooden propeller. The distilled core mash matures inside the heavy oak cask, a highly patient, biologically transformative, lengthy task. The fermentation process slowly alters the chemical composition. A highly respected, deeply historical. Sitting behind the massive 72-channel mixing board, manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upwards to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio supervisor. The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase shifter, transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter. We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect, a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect. I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line, a manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. The dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dubbed illusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal, crash the simulator, backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall.
The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at.
The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass,
creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mix down is a masterpiece of total deception, a profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen. Tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing room. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. Mute track, bring it back, add delay, fade away, pan left, audio theft. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen. Tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing room. Cut the tape, false escape, power down, leave the sound. Sitting behind a massive 72-channel mixing board, manipulating the frequencies of a highly distorted. I turn the rotary knobs to adjust the equalization, creating a highly deceptive auditory hallucination. The faders slide upwards to introduce the phantom track, a splice section of tape that we are playing completely back. I push the parameter of the reverb unit to the extreme, constructing an entirely artificial sonic dream.
I patch the cables directly into the analog synthesizer, acting as the ultimate deceptive studio
supervisor.
The snare drum is processed through a heavy phase shifter,
transforming the percussion into a psychedelic drifter.
We alter the pitch to create a highly disorienting effect,
a sonic landscape that the listener would never expect.
I mute the vocal channel to highlight the heavy bass line,
the manipulative trick of our incredibly clever design. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track. Splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom.
The oscillation frequency rapidly begins to multiply, a highly synthetic trick that we proudly apply. I reverse the cymbal crash to simulate a backward fall, bouncing the artificial sound waves off a non-existent wall. The engineering booth is filled with tangled black wires, fueling these incredibly deceptive auditory fires. We compress the dynamic range until the signal is flat, a highly technical achievement that we marvel at. The master tape degrades slightly with every single pass, creating a sound as fragile as spun fiberglass. I isolate the hi-hat and bathe it in a chorus pedal, treating the audio signal like a malleable liquid metal. We manufacture a space that defies all physical laws, adding intentional distortion to cover up the flaws. The final mixdown is a masterpiece of total deception, of profoundly manipulative synthetic reception. Tweaking the dials on the processing rack, there is no authentic original track, splicing the magnetic ribbon with a blade, listening to the artificial world we made, trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusions. The studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. A phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. From the mixing broom. Do not trust the sounds that you currently hear. The reality of this recording is nowhere near a phantom projection from the stereo speakers. We are the ultimate auditory seekers. Mute track, bring it back, add delay, fade away, pan left, audio theft. Trapped inside these dub delusions, creating massive auditory confusion. Studio acts as a magical machine, projecting a reality entirely unseen, tricking the eardrums with a clever delay, washing the authentic recordings away. Phantom orchestra performing in the room, constructed entirely from the mixing broom. Cut the tape, false escape, power down, leave the sound. A thick, impenetrable fog grows deeply through the narrow lane, slightly dampening my coat with a remarkably fine misty rain. The vintage gas lights flicker with a weak yellowish glow, illuminating the incredibly slippery wet path down below. I pull the collar of my heavy trench coat up around my neck, refusing to let the chilling, mysterious atmosphere wreck my incredibly secretive,
highly clandestine midnight stroll, a deeply noir-inspired cinematic journey for the soul.
I tilt the brim of my fedora entirely down over my eyes, adopting a highly sophisticated, completely unreadable disguise. My leather loafers click distinctly against the ancient street, a highly rhythmic, incredibly steady. I follow the mysterious silhouette darting around the corner, acting like a secretive, highly observant, silent mourner. The Victorian architecture looms heavily on either side, providing a magnificent shadowy place for secrets to hide. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring a mysterious distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly dark ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. I light a wooden match just to briefly illuminate my face, adding a tiny spark of warmth to this chilling damp place. The smoke from my cigarette mingles perfectly with the mist, a highly cinematic, deeply mysterious, romantic twist. I check the silver pocket watch attached to my heavy chain, waiting precisely for the midnight whistling steam train. The masonry beneath my feet is hundreds of years old, a structural witness to the incredible secrets currently told. I hide silently behind a massive towering brick pillar, observing the atmosphere growing significantly stiller. The clicking of your footsteps slowly approaches my spot, a highly anticipated, deeply thrilling, romantic plot. We meet entirely under the glow of the flickering lamp, ignoring the incredibly pervasive, bone-chilling damp. A secret rendezvous executed with phenomenal precision, a highly calculated, incredibly risky midnight decision. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in the highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. The clock tower chimes 12 times in the dark. We leave without making a single physical mark. The heavy fog swallows our mysterious silhouettes, the most secretive encounter that the city gets. Step, click, lamp, wick, hide, near, do not fear. Turn right, fade from sight, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space.
massive pile of dirty laundry on the bed, discovering the exact evidence that I had always fiercely dreaded. A highly distinct, unfamiliar discoloration upon the neckline, proving that your weekend activities were completely out of line.
The woven cotton fabric holds the
Undeniable dirty truth, exposing the secret infidelity of your reckless, foolish youth. I inspect the garment closely under the bright bedroom light, confirming my worst suspicions on this terrible, ruined night.
I desperately tried to formulate a believable, innocent excuse, while enduring this incredibly tense psychological abuse.
Sweat forms heavily upon my highly panicked, guilty brow. I cannot talk my way out of this disastrous situation now.
The button-down shirt was supposed to be thoroughly washed,
but my deceptive, terrible plan has been entirely quashed. I stare completely silently at the patterned bedroom rug, feeling like a highly exposed, thoroughly cornered, helpless bug. No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room, a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth.
I unbuttoned the cuffs with incredibly trembling, shaking hands, unable to meet your highly righteous, furious demand. The washing machine spins loudly in the adjacent utility hall, while my entire deceptive empire begins to completely fall. I offer a pathetic
apology that sounds incredibly insincere, understanding that the end of our partnership is entirely near.
The visual evidence is far too overwhelming to ever deny. I am caught completely inside my own terrible, selfish lie.
I toss the ruined garment directly into the metal trash bin, refusing to accept the consequences of your terrible sin. The laundry basket overflows with the remnants of your deceit. A highly devastating, incredibly painful, romantic defeat. I demand that you pack your belongings and quickly depart, taking your terribly flawed, untrustworthy, deceptive heart. The discoloration remains a highly permanent, ugly scar, showing exactly how incredibly wicked you truly are. No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room, a permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. The chemical solvents cannot remove the awful trace, erase the lying expression right off of your face. The fabric is ruined, the material is totally torn, a terrible catastrophe that leaves us deeply worn.
Scrub hard, soak deep, lies told.
Now weep, rinse out, loud shout, loud. Every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. Throw it out in the doubt, close the door, nevermore. A thick impenetrable fog rose deeply through the narrow lane, slightly dampening my coat with a remarkably fine misty rain. The vintage gaslights flicker with a weak yellowish glow, illuminating the incredibly slippery wet path down below.
I pull the collar of my heavy trench coat up around my neck,
refusing to let the chilling, mysterious atmosphere wreck
my incredibly secretive,
highly clandestine midnight stroll. A deeply noir-inspired cinematic journey for the soul.
I tilt the brim of my fedora entirely down over my eyes, adopting a highly sophisticated, completely unreadable disguise. My leather loafers click distinctly against the ancient street, a highly rhythmic, incredibly steady beat. I follow the mysterious silhouette darting around the corner, acting like a secretive, highly observant, silent mourner. The Victorian architecture looms heavily on either side,
providing a magnificent, shadowy place for secrets to hide. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious, distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room, taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space.
The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. I light a wooden match just to briefly illuminate my face, adding a tiny spark of warmth to this chilling, damp place. The smoke from my cigarette mingles perfectly with the mist,
A highly cinematic, deeply mysterious, romantic twist.
I check the silver pocket watch attached to my heavy chain,
waiting precisely for the midnight whistling steam train.
The masonry beneath my feet is hundreds of years old, a structural
Witness to the incredible secrets currently told. I hide silently behind a massive towering brick pillar, observing the atmosphere growing significantly stiller. The clicking of your footsteps slowly approaches my spot, a highly anticipated, deeply thrilling, romantic plot.
We meet entirely under the glow
Of the flickering lamp,
ignoring the
incredibly pervasive, bone-chilling down. A secret rendezvous executed with phenomenal precision, a highly calculated, incredibly risky midnight decision. Echoing footsteps bounding off the brick walls, ignoring the mysterious distant phantom calls. A highly atmospheric, deeply European gloom, navigating the corridors of this outdoor room. Taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. The clock tower chimes 12 times in the dark. We leave without making a single physical mark. The heavy fog swallows our mysterious silhouettes, the most secretive encounter that the city gets. Step, click, lamp, wick, hide near. Do not fear, turn right, fade from sight. No! Taking this incredibly moody cobblestone walk, a deeply secretive place where nobody talks, engaged in a highly elusive midnight chase, navigating the incredibly damp ancient space. The fog entirely obscures our final destination, a remarkably thrilling nocturnal investigation, slinking quietly through the completely empty alley, the most mysterious, shadowy urban valley. Fog bros and secrets spin, footsteps fade in the shade. Listening to your incredibly raspy, unpolished the bone, a harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks, a remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating barred despair. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear.
I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocals are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound I was painfully born, friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard, communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feed. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness adds a highly dramatic, intimidating weight to every single opinion that I attempt to clearly state. A remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix. A highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks. There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sound, paper-like speech, a completely unrefined frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic, lived-in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear. The most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. Their bones are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably reportatory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feel. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Across the entire local bar, embrace the terribly unpolished hoarse delivery. A remarkably authentic, highly textured, Preference has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone despair. The syllables bind together like a rusty, unoiled gear. The most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with the loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with this gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably reportatory grind, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. I order a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness has a dramatic, intimidating weight to every single dating that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has enjoyed decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating
gravitational pull of the moon dictates the water's pace, creating a remarkably tranquil, highly meditative space. Bioluminescent plankton begins to gently glow in the dark, leaving a mesmerizing, glowing, fluorescent blue mark.
I walk completely barefoot along the incredibly soft shoreline, observing a natural oceanic phenomenon of perfect design. The tiny gentle ripples barely disturb the smooth sandy beach, providing a profound calmness that is comfortably within reach. The estuary waters mix peacefully with the salty sea, a completely tranquil environment exclusively for you and me. I collect smooth frosted sea glass scattered by the foam, finding a profound sense of comfort in this coastal home. The lunar phase is a beautifully perfect waxing crescent, making the entire oceanic atmosphere wonderfully pleasant. A highly soothing, gentle retreat of the shallow water, nature acting as a profoundly gentle, caring daughter. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns, drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide. Nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy, embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single whirly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. The coastal hermit crabs scurry into their spiral shells, while the incredibly soft ocean current peacefully swells. I sit entirely still upon a large, smooth granite boulder, feeling the heavy burdens lifting entirely off my shoulder. The reflections of the stars dance upon the glassy surface, a profoundly beautiful, highly calming, aquatic purpose. The seaweed floats gently in the mesmerizing shallow pool. The entire ecosystem is wonderfully, dependably cool. The retreating liquid leaves intricate patterns in the wet dirt, healing every single microscopic psychological hurt. I synchronize my breathing with the rhythm of the gentle wash, observing the tiny minnow swimming in the aquatic squash. The lunar gravity acts as a highly dependable silent guide, controlling the remarkably peaceful, wonderful mellow tide. We are lulled entirely into a state of profound relaxation, the most effective natural form of mental pacification. The ebb and flow occurring at a whisper's volume, a deeply peaceful oceanic nighttime costume. The liquid retreats and gracefully returns, extinguishing the anxiety that heavily burns, drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide. Nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy,
Inhale deep, water sweep. Exhale slow, watch it go. Gentle wash, soft splash. Drifting alongside this incredibly mellow tide. Nowhere for our psychological stresses to hide. A remarkably smooth liquid sort of therapy. Embracing this wonderful coastal serenity. The gentle foam kisses the tips of our toes, washing away every single worldly woe. A highly tranquil, meditated lunar sway, gently washing the complicated world away. Ocean sleeps, water creeps, peaceful night, lunar light. Listening to your incredibly raspy, unpolished build a bone. A harsh, abrasive frequency that chills me to the bone. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks. A remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating baritone spare. The syllables grind together like a rusty, unoiled gear. The most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale. A deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn. A highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominated every single spoken word. The most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with his gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind. The most intimidating gruff frequency you can find, sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street. A highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick.
Out of a dark coffee to soothe the terrible scraping ache, the only physical remedy that I am currently able to take. My vocal range is plummeted into the deepest sub-bass tier, instilling the surrounding patrons with a tiny bit of fear. The raspiness adds a highly dramatic, intimidating weight to every single opinion that I attempt to clearly state. A remarkably gruff phenomenon that I simply cannot fix. A highly deteriorated, incredibly rough bag of vocal tricks.
There is a strange, highly unconventional charm to the croak, as if your entire existence is obscured by a heavy smoke. I listen to the remarkably textured sandpaper-like speech, frequency that nobody can teach. The hoarseness conveys a highly authentic, lived in pain, a remarkably unfiltered, entirely unpretentious vocal strain. You whisper a gruff compliment directly into my ear, the most incredibly rough, abrasive sentiment of the year. The vocal folds are incredibly frayed and totally torn, a highly textured sound that was painfully born. Friction dominating every single spoken word, the most heavily abrasive articulation ever heard. Communicating entirely with his gravel voice, leaving the listener with absolutely no choice. A highly textured, remarkably rough auditory grind, the most intimidating gruff frequency you can find. Sounding exactly like heavy boots upon the dirty street, a highly unpolished, incredibly raw acoustic feat. The vocal cords are permanently scarred and thick, making the atmospheric vibration feel incredibly sick. Incredibly sick. The friction creates a highly unique auditory scar, projecting the gruffness across the entire local bar. Embrace the terribly unpolished horse delivery, a remarkably authentic, highly texturally, remarkably authentic, highly texturally. Listening to your incredibly raspy, listening to your incredibly raspy, listening to your incredibly raspy, a harsh, abrasive frequency. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed bones. The sound is highly reminiscent of heavily crushed rocks, a remarkably gruff communication that constantly shocks. Your pharynx has endured decades of incredibly rough wear, projecting a highly intimidating bathysphere. The syllables grind together like a rusty unoiled gear, the most incredibly coarse serenade I will ever hear. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh, scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning with an incredibly dry throat, struggling to articulate even a single proper note. My larynx is severely damaged from yelling into the gale, a deeply hoarse presentation where the vocal cords fail. I clear my throat with a loud, incredibly abrasive cough, but the harsh, scraping texture absolutely refuses to wear off. Speaking feels exactly like swallowing a handful of sand, a severely deteriorated instrument I can barely command. I wake up every single morning. Flipping open the tiny circular silver compact mirror, trying to see my current cosmetic situation a little clearer. The vibrant carmine pigment has noticeably begun to wane, leaving an uneven, highly unattractive waxy stain. I dab my mouth with a remarkably thin textured tissue, highly frustrating vanity issue. The glamorous crimson outline is severely blurred and messy, making my facial presentation look incredibly unimpressive.
I noticed the rosy smudge transferred directly onto my collar, a highly persistent residue that no amount of soap will alter. The waxy substance clings stubbornly to the woven fabric, a visible consequence of an interaction that was highly tragic. The glossy finish you applied earlier has entirely disappeared, exactly as my highly observant, cynical-minded feared. The cosmetic layer failed to withstand the evening's friction, exposing the underlying truth beneath the glamorous fiction. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout, the artificial confidence has completely run out. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what our artificial presentation lacks. A smudged reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. The matte foundation begins to heavily flake and separate as the late night hours continue to drastically escalate. I hand you a moistened towelette to cleanse your cheek. Your cosmetic barrier is looking incredibly, terribly weak. The rosy tint is heavily compromised by the perspiration, a highly unflattering, physically messy manifestation. You reapply the coloring, but the contour line is crooked, the most unkempt and disheveled that you have ever looked.
I twist the plastic tube to elevate the colored wax cylinder, feeling like a highly exhausted, unglamorous pretender. The shade is significantly lighter than the original application, a deeply disappointing, highly frustrating visual revelation.
My lip
Liner is entirely erased from the outer boundary. I am trapped completely inside the superficial laundry. The glamorous aesthetic has been entirely compromised, exactly as the harsh bathroom fluorescent lights surmise. The rouge loses its highly saturated initial brightness, replaced by an overwhelming, remarkably dull whiteness. Wiping the color grease directly off the weary pout, the artificial confidence has completely run out. Oh, wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what the artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise that was fundamentally flawed. The waxy layer peels away from the sensitive skin, allowing the remarkably unpolished reality to begin. To begin. Scrub the remaining pigment entirely away, accept the unvarnished reality of the day. The artificial coloring provides zero protection, just a highly superficial, waxy deflection. Twist up, apply gloss, smear down, total loss, wipe clean, facing. Wearing this remarkably faded lipstick, a highly deceptive superficial cosmetic trick. The vibrant pigment heavily diminishes and cracks, revealing exactly what the artificial presentation lacks. A smudge reminder of a highly glamorous facade, an aesthetic disguise was fundamentally to begin. Close the case, wash the face, color gone. Moving on. From the heavily plastered underground speakeasy ceiling, the massive lighting fixture, a highly dizzying feeling, pushed by the aggressive vibrations of the heavy band, creating a sweeping trajectory that I can barely understand. The illumination oscillates across the crowded, smoky floor, pushing the patches of darkness directly toward the heavy door. A metronomic sway that hypnotizes the entire gathered crowd, while the brass instruments play incredibly, overwhelmingly loud.
I observe the heavy brass pendulum executing its massive arc, plunging half of the room into a sudden temporary dark. The rhythmic oscillation perfectly matches the drummer's steady pace, sweeping back and forth across this underground secretive space. The chains creak loudly under the immense swinging gravitational weight, a mesmerizing physics experiment happening incredibly late. The trajectory is predictable but highly visually entrancing, providing the perfect strobing illumination for our romantic romancing. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. The syncopated movement dictates the shifting mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club. A kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. The kinetic energy is transferred directly into the musical groove, dictating exactly how the intoxicated patrons are allowed to move. I dodge the sweeping projection of the heavy iron frame, participating actively in this highly visual optical game. The velocity reaches its maximum directly at the lowest point, a fascinating mechanical feature of this illegal basement joint. The momentum carries the structure upward to the opposing peak, a highly dynamic environment where the visual contrasts speak. The alternating brightness causes a heavy psychological trance, a highly unpredictable, constantly shifting, illuminated dance. I track the physical arc with my completely mesmerized stare, watching the heavy brass slice through the thick cigar-filled air. The gravitational pull forces the object perfectly back into line, a remarkably consistent, mathematically flawless physical design. We are entirely subjected to
to the whims of the swinging light. The most dynamic, visually chaotic element of this Friday night. Back and forth the heavy fixture continuously flies, tricking our intoxicated, highly weary eyes. Syncopated movement dictates the shifting mood, a deeply hypnotic, constantly swinging attitude. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club. A kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. Rotating thing. The pivot point squeaks with the highly rhythm, casting the shifting silhouettes completely onto the ground. Do not lose your balance in the alternating dark. Follow the glowing trajectory of the electrical spark. Swing left, swing right, darkness fall, then the light. Watch you move, feel the groove. Caught beneath these massive swinging shadows, where the underground illicit river flows, the alternating flashes of the bright bulb illuminating this highly secretive hidden club. A kinetic aerial display of rhythmic grace, constantly altering the geometry of the space. The pendulum dictates the heavy musical swing, a profoundly mesmerizing, rotating thing. Momentum slows, the shadow grows, fixture stops, the music drops. Sorting through the massive pile of dirty laundry on the bed, discovering the exact evidence that I had always fiercely dread. A highly distinct, unfamiliar discoloration upon the neckline, proving that your weekend activities were completely out of line. The woven cotton fabric holds the undeniable dirty truth, exposing the secret infidelity of your reckless, foolish youth. I inspect the garment closely under the bright bedroom light, confirming my worst suspicions on this terrible, ruined night.
I desperately tried to formulate a believable, innocent excuse, while enduring this incredibly tense psychological abuse. Sweat forms heavily upon my highly panicked, guilty brow. I cannot talk my way out of this disastrous situation now. The button-down shirt was supposed to be thoroughly washed, but my deceptive, terrible plan has been entirely quashed. I stare completely silently at the patterned bedroom rug, feeling like a highly exposed, thoroughly cornered, helpless bug.
No amount of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar, a visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries fabric-eating moth.
I unbutton the cuffs with incredibly trembling, shaking hands, unable to meet your highly righteous, furious demands. The washing machine spins loudly in the adjacent utility hall, while my entire deceptive empire begins to completely fall. I offer a pathetic apology that sounds incredibly insincere, understanding that the end of our partnership is entirely near. The visual evidence is far too overwhelming to ever deny. I'm caught completely inside my own terrible, selfish lie. I toss the ruined garment directly into the metal trash bin, refusing to accept the consequences of your terrible sin. The laundry basket overflows with the remnants of your deceit. A highly devastating, incredibly painful romantic defeat. I demand that you pack your belongings and quickly depart, taking your terribly flawed, untrustworthy, deceptive heart. The discoloration remains a highly permanent, ugly scar, showing exactly how incredibly wicked you truly are. No amounts of strong detergent can bleach the guilt, destroying the fragile trust we carefully built. The undeniable proof is woven into the thread, a catastrophic revelation filling us with dread. Confronting the reality of the stained collar, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth. Catastrophe that leaves us deeply worn. Scrub hard, so deep,
lies told,
now we
rinse out,
loud shout,
loud shout. Confronting the reality of the stained car, not worth a single pathetic counterfeit dollar. A visible mark of absolute devastating betrayal, where every single deceptive explanation will fail. The neckline carries a highly foreign, strange perfume, suffocating the oxygen right out of the living room. A permanent blemish upon the pristine white cloth, destroying the relationship like a fabric-eating moth.